What's going on, YouTube? Outdoors with Tim, and we're back out here this afternoon, this evening, early this evening, in the garden. And I did post a video earlier today. I was at Lowe's Home Improvement Center in the garden section, and they had a lot of beautiful, fresh, new garden plants. And I wanted to go there and purchase a few young garden plants, and I was looking for the zucchini squash is what I was looking for. So I ended up purchasing 3 of those plants, and this is one of them that I purchased, and it is by the Bonnie Plant Company. And and I'm not sure if you guys know exactly where they're out of, but of course it says it right on the side here that their headquarters is in Union Springs. I believe that's Alabama. But anyway, great plants. I actually had an idea that I might split these up because there's, 4 in this one, but they're so strong and they're really strong. I don't want to do anything to upset the root system on this, so I'm actually going to plant this in the garden, just how you see it, and I believe it's going to do really well. I don't want to put the root system into too much shock, so I'm going to plant it just as you see it. And in just a moment, I'm going to take you into the garden and let you see how I prepare the final destination as I bed these zucchini squash in their final planting spot, and we can watch them all grow. So you guys stay tuned. Outdoors with Tim. I really enjoy you guys tuning into this. You guys stay tuned. In just a moment, I'll bring you back on when we are in the garden. All right, guys, I'm back. I got my holes dug, and in just a minute, I'm going to take you over there. But I wanted to show you what I do just before I set my plants in the hole. We know that our plants come with some kind of garden potting soil, and it has a slow release nitrogen gel, little I guess a tablet or a little capsule or sort of whatever you want to call it. But if you ever find them and you smash them, they'll pop and the little liquid comes out. Well, that's that slow release. I call it a nitrogen pellet. But anyway, I'm going to put some of this garden soil. This is the vegetable and herb garden soil. It's like a compost is exactly what it is. And I like to put a little bit in the bottom of the hole, and then I'll transplant my young plants into their final destination spot in our garden. And that's what I'm going to take you along so you can see me do this. And it'll give you a really good idea if you want some really good vegetables to grow in your garden. Put a good base that they can feed off of until those roots really start to take a permanent foundation and root into the soil that's in your garden. This is one way to make them pop, because if you've ever planted a plant and then you notice like the next day it's like the leaves are wilted and the plant just looks sad, it's like, whatever. Well, plants are happy plants until you remove them from their pot. Then they get a little unhappy. Well, what I'm doing is I put this in the bottom and I give them a little bit of food for the next couple months. But they seep and take to it rather quickly, and they get happy overnight. So tomorrow when I come out here, they won't look wilted and look sad, So anyway, stay tuned. I'm going to bring you along and show you that, okay? But what I've already done is I've taken the soil out of the bag, and I've got me another little pot over here, and I've got some of that compost, and I've put it in one of these pots here. I'm going to take this into the garden with me, and I don't know if you can see that, but this is what I'm going to put in the very bottom of the hole. And you guys can come along. All right, YouTube, we're back in the garden. So like I said, we got a little bit of this potting soil here, this compost, and I like to take a little bit of it and just drop it in the holes, just like that, right? And we have another one right here We'll do the same thing to this one. We're just going to drop a little bit in there. Oh yeah, we'll put a little bit more in that one. And a little bit of that one. Then we'll set that out the way. And we'll take this new plant we just picked up today. We'll, of course, set our little zucchini thing there. I like to roll them a little bit. Kind of loosen it up around here. And then we'll take it, put 2 fingers right here. We'll turn the plant upside down. Oh yeah, and they were definitely ready to come out. And we'll just kind of soften it up a little bit. Say, hey, wake up, roots. Can't sleep forever. All right, and we'll go back over here to this hole. And what we'll do is make sure we got it level. Then we'll put it down in there, like so. And we'll put some of this good fertile dirt that I've had tilled up and I've been working. And we'll put it down in there like that, right? We'll come back over here and get some of your compost. Because this stuff's going to hold moisture. When you water your garden in the middle of the day, everything else dries out. But under here, it holds the moisture underneath. So what we do is we put it around the plant like that. And it'll bounce. It'll bounce up in about 4 days. This thing will be twice the size that it is right now. But if you really want good, luscious garden plants, vegetables, produce in your garden, if you do the small things that a lot of people overlook, it will pay off in the end, I promise you. So anyway, we'll move that out of the way, and we'll do the same thing here. Make sure we got plenty there. We'll set that one there. And let's make sure we roll this up, free it up a little bit, and then just kind of don't be afraid, wake it up. Then we'll set it in the hole here. We'll put some of this good fertile dirt around it. And then we'll grab some more of our soil here, compost soil, and we'll put it around our plants. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you look like you're choking your leaves out. Trust me, I'm not. And when I get done, it'll look good. And the plant will be happy. In 2 days' time, these leaves won't even be touching that soil. And I know that's another thing. A lot of people say, well, you know, your leaves are touching the ground, they're going to get an infection and all, but they're not going to be touching the ground that long. So, but anyway, nice little moisture barrier. So when everything else is drying out, these guys still have moisture. And they're still happy. The roots aren't getting hot. They're not getting dried out. And they have something to feed off of down below. Hey guys, y'all stay tuned. There's more to come. All right. Just a little more garden soil down in this hole. Oh yeah. Good deal. Roll this plant a little bit. Get our fingers around it. Oh yeah, loosen up the roots. Set it right there in the hole. Okay. Put a little bit of this compost around it. Just like so. Now, everybody has their own method when they're planting, and this one seems to work for me, and I like it. It's something simple. It's not hard to remember, and it produces well. And we're back, guys. One more thing. This is my nephew, Steve. I love him to death. He's a great help, and he loves to be out in the garden with me sometimes, and he just so happens to be out here this evening as the sun's going down. Anyway, we have these bell peppers, and we grew these, planted these a long time ago, and they're really doing well. We've already topped them one time, so they're really producing. I think I showed a video just a couple of days ago with them, and they've got a lot of buds on them, so we really can't top them out because they're actually producing a small pepper on them, a bell pepper. Steve, what do you think we ought to do with these? You think they're ready to be moved out of here and maybe put into a bigger pot or something like that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, well, Steve is quite the little gardener. He has a green thumb, and he wants to move these bell peppers. And we're not quite sure where we're going to move them at, if we're going to put them in the garden or just kind of separate some of them and put them in a larger pot. I think we're probably going to put them in a larger pot. Now, we grew these bell peppers using the compost garden soil and also using a little bit of the, what was it? I'm trying to think here. I'm drawing a blank. It was the Miracle-Gro potting soil. So we used potting soil, and we also used the garden soil mixture. Basically, the mixture we use, the actual garden soil compost in a bag, actually has larger pieces of fragments of leaves and dirt and like small sticks and twigs, and it's kind of already starting to break down and decompose, and it keeps the actual potting soil. You know, potting soil will get tight as you water it; it'll get tight, and it comes to a point where it almost gets like a sealed, you know, where it doesn't quite I can't even talk. Quite let the moisture get to the root system. So if we mix it up, the larger stuff keeps the potting soil from getting tight and sealing itself from the moisture flowing. It kind of wicks is what this acts like. A wick is what it acts like, really. But these are some of the green sweet bell peppers. I think we've got, what, 6 or 7 plants in here, and we're going to transplant them. So hopefully you guys will be along with us. We can get this on video, and you can see how we do this. Now, this is a little bit older and larger plant. So I would imagine the root system on these, they're starting to intertwine. So we definitely don't want to get in there and start breaking up the big root systems and cause stress on young plants, because the older they get, the bigger the root is, and those are very, very vital. They're the very serious root system on them, and the larger they are, they're a seriously serious food system for the plant, and we don't want to cut into those. So we definitely don't want to stress the young plant. And I'm getting tongue-tied out here because I've been working in the garden for a little while, so my mouth is dry, and I need to drink some water. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll see what we can do here on that. And the next thing to do is, when you transplant them young plants, is put your water hose on mist and sit down out here at your garden and just lightly water your new transplanted plants. It's always best to transplant your plants after the sun has gone down. The heat of the day is what I'm looking at, folks. That definitely will keep your plants happy. Transplanting them in the heat of the day, the soil that you're putting them in is probably going to be really hot. And it's just stressful on young plants. So the less stressful you can make it on your young vegetable plants when you're planting them is good. Early in the morning, late in the evening. I always do it late in the evening, planting plants. Just for the simple fact they have about 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever you want to call it, before that sun comes up and gets on them. And, you know, plants are pretty awesome. I mean, because within the next 2 hours, those roots will start to move around on those young zucchini squash, and they'll start seeding into the potting soil, the compost soil that I put on in the bottom of the hole. They'll start doing their thing immediately. It's amazing how garden plants respond if you make the situation that they're in less stressful. So I'm no expert in gardening. It's just things that I've learned from other gardeners and things I've learned trial and error mostly. Just love to share some garden tips with you, and if you guys got any great garden tips, please share them with me. I promise you I will not criticize you for sharing your opinions when it comes to great garden tips. And I can see the corn starting to sprout over there. So I would imagine in a couple of days, we'll be doing a video on Outdoors with Tim on how the corn is coming along. You know, we're going to let it sprout a little bit more so you guys can see it on camera. But it is really starting to pop through. Now, I planted that last Saturday, this corn, and it is really starting to come through. And we've got our cucumbers over there. As a matter of fact, we'll be making some baskets here real soon because we want our cucumbers to crawl and crawl up on somewhat of like a round trellis. So if you guys hear that traffic in the background, it's because I have my shotgun mic in, and it's very sensitive. It picks up on a lot of sound, even far away. The video I made today when I was at Lowe's, I did it on my cell phone. So I hope you guys don't mind that video neither. But this is it, guys. Just water them delicately. You know, don't hit them with a jet or anything. But just water them. We got 3 cherry tomatoes in pots, which I always grow my cherry tomatoes in pots, and I always grow a couple of my beefsteak tomatoes in pots. I'll tell you something too. If you grow in about a 3 or 4 gallon pot and you don't want tall, big plants, the 3 and 4 gallon pot will keep them from getting 5 and 6 foot tall. I mean, nobody wants a big giant bush they got to get on a ladder. Well, of course I don't, but it really is a way to maintain your garden plants. And also, when you're out here watering, it's a great time to observe your garden, like any kind of stink bugs, squash bugs, or even those cutter worms, and I call them the great tomato hornworm. So be paying attention to that, because I don't have any cuts going on my tomatoes. I don't have anything stripping the tops out of my tomatoes yet, and I hope I don't. But as soon as you start seeing that, you need to come out here at nighttime or early in the morning and start looking on the underside of your leaves on your tomato plants and find that hornworm and get rid of them. Normally there's only about 2 or 3 or 4 per plant. So it's not like, oh, there's hundreds of them. So they're pretty low in numbers, but if you don't take care of it, they will kill a plant in about 4 days. I mean, they will eat it down to nothing. But anyway, everything is looking good out here. And you see these little windmills out here. Let me see if I can get this one to spin. I can usually get them to spin pretty good with the water hose. I put these out here because actually those things will help with squirrels. Squirrels, for some reason, do not like things that move and that are bright colors. I don't know why, but I don't know if squirrels can see bright colors. Somebody tell me in the comments if squirrels can see bright colors. But I'm going to tell you what, these things are constantly blowing in the middle of the day, and squirrels will come out here and they will dig up your beans and they will dig up your young corn if it hasn't sprouted yet. But anyway, those are some few tips I wanted to share with you. And this is backyard gardening. Just having fun with it. Don't get big and crazy with it. Just enjoy it. Don't get out here and make a garden that you can't keep up with. Just do, a couple rows of this, a couple rows of that. Buy you some of your young plants already grown, so it takes a lot of the stress and a lot of the work off of you, unless you really get enjoyment out of growing things straight from the seed. A lot of you probably already know a lot about that. You have to start those inside around end of January, first part of February, and it's a lot of fun doing that too. But most of my plants, I buy them at my Lowe's store close by, and I really enjoy doing the gardening this way. It's a lot of fun. But make sure you get plenty of water on your garden in the evening. That way your plants have the opportunity to sit there and drink as much water as they want throughout the night, because all day today the sun was out. It was 82 degrees. It was warm, and I can only imagine. I could probably dig down in my garden right now, and I've got probably 3 inches before I'd probably start getting 3 or 4 inches before I would start getting to dry soil. I know in the past, my garden, I could go out there and just brush the ground and the soil was dry, and that is not good. That's very far and few between that happens, but it has happened. So keep your plants watered, guys. Keep your garden watered, and it'll grow. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Steve, thanks for tuning in. Outdoors with Tim. And guess what? What are you going to say? Say something. You get stage fright? Step over here. Step over here. What are you going to say?
Thanks for watching our shows.
Thanks for watching our shows. You going to ask them to give us a thumbs up?
Give us a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up, guys. like you said, thanks for watching our shows. Outdoors with Tim is not scripted. It's not Hollywood. There's no fancy editing. It's just Outdoors with Tim. Thanks for watching, guys, and God bless you all.